Welcome back, everybody. It's episode 4 of my review series this month. Slight change. It's not going to be daily videos now. It's going to be every other day so that I don't stress out over trying to make daily upload deadlines. For this episode, we're still going to be talking about like Christmas themed or winter themed movies. In order to do the 31 videos and not stress out, it's actually going to extend into January. Today's episode is on the film Don't Open Till Christmas. This is a British film from 1984, directed by Edmund Purdom. I apologize if I said your name wrong. Some scenes were written by Alan Birkinshaw and Derek Ford. In case you haven't heard of this film is about somebody with very little Christmas spirit is killing anyone in a Santa suit one London holiday season, and Scotland Yard has to stop him before he makes his exploits an annual tradition. Right off the bat, like from the synopsis, for me at least, it kind of has Jack the Ripper vibes in that the killer is only targeting like one group of people, and it's like obviously it's happening in England. I feel like it's an 80s version of the Jack the Ripper story. It starts out with an opening POV, which is really good. It's handheld, so it gets that, like, I guess you could say grittiness of like an amateur style film, or the film that's actually coming to mind right now that did something similar with like POV shots is my review for 44 caliber, which I'll link up in one of the top corners here. Yeah, the cinematography of this film is really good. I absolutely love the POV shots from the killer. It's probably one of the better British horror films I've seen. I haven't seen many British horror films, but I think I have at least one more coming up in this series. Well shot, like the grittiness is perfect, the acting is good, the kills are well executed. Now, this part I really like. So the weapons that are used, each kill is different, which I think adds a sense of creativity. The killer isn't like the normal killer because you can't like pinpoint, okay, so this Santa was killed by, say, a gunshot, and then this Santa was killed by strangulations. It all seems like different. It creates a sense of confusion, I feel, with like the Scotland Yard investigators. You don't really find that in most films. The weapons used, they feel very inventive, and it makes the kills feel fresh. So the version I saw was actually kind of edited for YouTube, so a lot of the scenes with nudity were actually cut out. Despite that, the editing of the film was great. It was well written. The music is very 80s. The soundtrack is just awesome. The sets are really good. Everything's believable and adds to the film in its own way. It's suspenseful, which some British films that I've seen, horror films, have felt kind of boring and not really scary, but this one really changed that. Could have been the editing, could have been the way it was shot, could have been the story. I'm not 100% sure. Either way, it was very good. It's an interesting concept. It's something that you don't normally see, so it's creative, original in a way. Framing of the film is really good. The framing of it might have been the thing that added to the suspenseful nature of the film, with like the tightness of some shots and stuff like that. One of my favorite scenes of the movie, the musical scene in it, I really loved. It was interestingly cut together because of the juxtaposition of the song, which was a cheery like Christmas song, I believe. The stalking and the eventual killing of the character felt really well put together and well executed. One concept that this film has that is one of those concepts that you don't normally find, that of the killer actually helping out with the investigation. I've heard of like this concept before, but I haven't actually really seen it done really anywhere or to this extent, so it's really cool. The flashback of why the character is how he is, it's interestingly placed at the end to give a bit of backstory. I think it works well where it was placed, and it's not very often that you find like backstory at the end of the film. The backstory could have worked as like the opening, so like the cold open, but I think it works really well here. There's another film coming up, it might be not this next one, but the one after that. They have the flashback to who the killer is at the beginning of the film to set up that story, so we'll get to that one soon. In the film, spoiler alert, the killer is actually the main investigator's brother, who has been in a mental asylum for a fair bit of time. I'm not sure the exact length of time. 2 days before Christmas, the brother gets a gift that says don't open till Christmas. So the opening credits of the film start with like a montage of like little gifts and stuff like that. I think one of them, which is like a little music box, is the same one that was actually in that gift, which I feel, if it is the same, it's a nice way to begin and end the film on similar notes. Nicely wraps up the film. Yeah, the mystery aspect of the film is definitely a really good one. I highly recommend that you actually see it if you can get a chance. Whether you purchase it and see the full uncut version, or you see the version that's on YouTube, either way, it's still a fun movie. If I had to give it a rating, I would give it an 8.5. Some issues I had with it, I didn't really write them down, so I'm not really sure what those were. 8.5, my final rating for Don't Open Till Christmas. Yeah, just an overall well done film, well executed. It was probably the best British horror film that I've seen up until this point, so definitely check it out. See you in the next review.